Hello and welcome to Michael's Minty Music for today. Today we review Avril Lavigne's self-titled 2013 album. It's alright, there are some pretty good songs here, but overall the album lacks consistency and just isn't great overall. This is the track listing, and these are the tracks that added to my playlist, 7 out of 13, so just 1 over half. This album is a perfect example of some good ideas being implemented poorly overall, I would say. There's a lot of different and cool sounds here that aren't done very well, in my opinion. They're different and cool, but they aren't implemented well. This album could be a lot better than it is. The main thing, I would say, in general, the lyrics are not great just throughout the whole album. Certain songs have some different issues, but in general, the lyrics are what isn't great. Particularly in tracks 7 and 8, right in the middle of the album. Those songs are really good musically, but the lyrics are just so awful. I couldn't add them to my playlist. If just those two songs were better lyrically, I think the album would really jump up. Since, they're sort of in the correct spot, so that if they were good, the album would really get a good flow going. But instead, the lyrics are cringy, and it really hurts the album, especially when they're in their positioning. So overall, it's got good ideas, but poor implementation. So not a great album, but decent. There were 3 singles released before the album. Track 2, Here's to Never Growing Up. Track 1, Rock and Roll. And track 5, Let Me Go. I don't think any of these tracks on this album made it on the radio. I don't remember any of them making it on the radio, so not a good radio album for her. My favorite track here, really difficult. There wasn't really anything here that stood out from the rest. They were all different, but they were all good in their own way. My initial reaction, though, was that Give You What You Like was my favorite, and I think I'm going to stick with it. I also really like You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet and Sippin' on Sunshine, though. Either of them could also be the favorite. There's like 3 or 4 tracks here that are all pretty good in terms of quality. Now, I rank this album second to last out of all the Avril Lavigne albums I've heard so far, just above her 2007 album and below her previous 2011 album. I think this album could have been one of her best albums if it was just a little bit more worked on and a little bit implemented better. There's definitely enough good tracks here to put together a great album, but it needs more work. As it stands, the album is sort of a more innovative version of Goodbye Lullaby, but not as good overall, and has enough good, unique tracks to be better than the Best Damn Thing, despite being less together. So it's kind of in the lower half, but not too bad, but really just hamstrung by the poor implementation. This album doesn't take my top spot from 2013. That stays with Sarah Bareilles' The Blessed Unrest, which is really great. Almost perfect album, I would say. So Avril Lavigne isn't gonna take this one. This stays with my current favorite. Next up is Pink's 2019 album, Hurts to Be Human, which is alright, but it's not great. It's not one of my favorite of hers, but it's not terrible, so stay tuned for that, and as always, stay minty.